What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar, where we're going to be breaking down our ES futures contract. We're going to start with our 30-minute time frame, break down that over the last 2 days. Did not make a video yesterday, but it turns out the video that I left and the idea that I left you guys off on back on Tuesday, the idea was more than right. And look at where we're at. We're back approaching near our balance high on the daily, and honestly just really impressed with how I read the market there. We held what I was wanting to hold on Wednesday, and then on Tuesday, held where we wanted to hold. Wednesday opened up above where we were expecting to open, and then drove higher. Created a 9 wide point of control here from yesterday. Drove higher, created a price probe, and ended up closing near the high of day. Now today we open up, and you'll have to ignore the value area. This got kind of janky. I don't know why it's up here, but value was overlapping to higher from yesterday, and then today we opened with higher value and above the price probe. Now yesterday when we closed with the price probe above 5011 or 5,011.25, you wanted to see the market open above 5,011.25 and hold that. Well, today we did exactly that. We not only did we hold it, we came down, tested it, held, and then boom, popped up, and then began to fill the rest of the gap that we had. Because remember, there was a massive gap down that happened on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we pushed up into it, didn't quite fill it. Today we did fill it later in the afternoon after we got our afternoon pullback low, and then pushed up into that point of interest that we had marked on our chart from Monday right here at 5,044.25. In between there and 5,048, we were kind of interested in that area as it was our previous all-time high area, and then we had pretty much where we kind of spiked down lower from, and a little bit of consolidation in that area. So I wanted to see how we reacted there as well. But overall, I'm just very happy with how I've read the market. I did participate today. Didn't make as much as I could have. I did, nonetheless take a good long, but I think I could have done better. I definitely know I could. Could have done better for sure. Just from my position alone, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But the daily, just keep in mind, daily is in a balance. We are approaching a balance high. And then if for those of you that are interested in support and resistance areas, this is kind of what my 10-minute chart has been looking like, more or less. When we pushed down here, we held a support zone. I didn't create anything for yesterday because I didn't think there was much of an area for us to hold. Above, the only area I did highlight was between, was just where we probed up right around the 5,011 area and near our overnight high. I was thinking, all right, our overnight low. I was thinking, okay, maybe we will, we definitely want to hold above that and where our price probe was, which was 5,011. So since they were a very similar area, I was like, okay, we want to hold above there. So when we did pull back, that was a great opportunity to get long and then push up into what was at the time our high of day, which was right around the 5032 level. And kind of, you can see how we had trouble there initially. And the reason I highlighted it red as a bit of a resistance is not only is that where the gap kind of fills, which was at the previous day's low, or before we gapped down, which was 33.25. Not only is that the same area, but we also had a little bit of consolidation from the overnight that day. And then right here, when we did push back up into it, we spiked pretty heavily below it. So felt like maybe we would spend a little bit of time kind of cleaning up the price action in that area from that day on the move down. And initially we did have some trouble early on there. It was kind of rotational. We kind of pulled back, rotated back near the highs, struggled a little bit, had a pullback, afternoon pullback low, which resulted in a pretty good push through that area. And then the next area that we were looking for on the resistance side of things was going to be that area of interest right around there, right? Which was that 44 to 48 level, just below the 50-50 level. So that's kind of what I was looking for today. And just how I marked my charts to kind of see the day. When I did get long today, the market was indicating that sellers were not really that strong. Okay. Sellers were really not that strong early on. They did attempt to push lower. Where I got involved was right around the 20 level, which was at the time where VWAP was. I got involved in C period and in D period, accumulating some contracts right around there, and was expecting to buy on a pullback, but I was not present at the time, and I didn't have any rest in bids when we did pull back lower here to around the 13 level. I would have added, because I was not expecting this market to go trend down by any means, and ended up working out anyway. But I added to my position on the push back up once we got back above the open, added to my position, and I was looking to get out. I did not know exactly. I also had some errands to run, so I occasionally will put on a position, put my stop in, and just kind of let the price action work out. If I think it can get to a target that I think is very visual and very possible. So here on the 1 minute chart, I'd gotten long on the pullback here, and then added my position here, right, in this little consolidation area around the 20 level. And then as we pushed up, I had my target like right here where the first standard deviation was. Once we got above VWAP, I felt like that would be initially a good area to take profit, and that's exactly where I had my target was 27. So I got out of all of my contracts there, made pretty good points on the day, 32 points on that contract or on that account, 39 points on that account. Overall, roughly $300 on the day, if I'm not mistaken. Full performance, yeah, $338 on the day. So very good. I definitely could have gotten bigger, had we or could have had a better trade had I been more patient instead of entering here, waiting to fade the extreme on the pullback, right? Instead of getting long where I was, waiting for the extreme, getting in at the lower prices, and I would have been risking less because I had my stop just below 11. So I would have been risking less instead of the 10 points that I was. I would have been risking 5 instead, 6 to 5 points, which is, it adds up when you're having multiple contracts. So definitely could have been better on the entry there, and would have made more on the push up to that first standard deviation. Now, I did want to shoot for the high of the day and the gap fill up here at 33.25. I should have recorded it, but I did not. I did initially have my offers up here at 32 and 33.25, but I would have been very upset with myself had we pushed up to that first standard deviation and I did not take profits, especially when I'm not present at the desk or at my computer at the moment, right? So I would have been very upset with myself had we, not taking profit up here and end up pulling back even further and I gotten stopped out, right? So I'm okay with how I did take profits there, and then definitely could have been better on the entry, entering near the lows here against this standard deviation here. And I do look at those from time to time. I don't always base my trades off of that, but it does give me a good vision. When it lines up with visual areas on my 30-minute chart, I definitely will lean towards using them a little bit more. So, but nonetheless, made good money. Was a great opportunity to buy on the pullback there. And if you had missed that opportunity, the next opportunity was the afternoon pullback low here at 25.50. And I think that was a much better opportunity, in my opinion, to take the long. Granted, at the time, you really didn't know if you were just because the way the market had pulled back near the high of the day at that time, had pulled back, you didn't know if you were going to come back down and visit the other end of the range. So some people would have been skeptical to take that trade. But I think because of where the trade location was, which was against the 144 simple moving average on your 1 minute chart, I think buying here, right? You're buying in this area on the pullback, especially seeing that there's no tempo, right? There's no tempo or anything. You're buying in this area on the pullback against the 144 simple moving average. Okay. Your stop is below VWAP, so your risk is very, very tight, right? Your stop is just below VWAP. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. So you enter, right? You're not going to get the lows, obviously, but just say we enter there, and then you're targeting. Where are we targeting? Well, we know we can rotate up and get 33.25, and if we get 33.25, guess what? We can push up into 44.25. So let's just say those are your targets. Let's say 33.25 is target 1. Well, guess what? You get that. Boom. Really good risk reward. And then you want 44. Boom. You get that. Right? Look at just for shits and gigs, for those that like to look at, weird shit like this, risk to your reward ratio, very good trade against the 144 simple moving average. Afternoon pullback low potentially. Buyers had moved point of control up at the time. So was presenting a very good opportunity to buy versus down here at the lows whenever we had taken out the initial balance low. But great opportunity to buy on that pullback at 25.50, which is our afternoon pullback low, and then pushed up into the gap fill, and then 44.25, right? So hopefully that makes sense. To me, it does. But that's how the day traded. Held above the price probe. Excellent job there. Was creating a wide point of control, but really didn't get any more consolidation in this area. And then boom, got another distribution to the upside as we end up with a double distribution day in an afternoon pullback low. So let's go ahead and mark our destinations here, and then kind of review the game plan for tomorrow. We do have PPI tomorrow, I think, which shouldn't have an effect on the market, but sometimes these numbers tend to push the market one way or the other. But I'm not really looking for this market to kind of just give up what they did today, to say the least. But we'll review kind of the game plan, and then we'll look at the bigger picture to give ourselves an idea of what is possible and kind of set ourselves up for success tomorrow. This is an afternoon pullback low, and it is textbook because we have a set of single prints above us. So textbook afternoon pullback low, this is what that looks like, right? We pulled back. Technically, point of control got moved up to 27, right? A lot of times you like to see the afternoon pullback low be a little bit further away from where point of control was, but ended up only being about 2 points below. But that just goes to show you how strong the buyers were at that point when we did pull back, and then it had a reversal bar to the upside. So textbook afternoon pullback low there at 25.50. Once again, just an absolute excellent area to get long. I mean, if we look there, I'm just saying, like, that is an excellent area to be long. I'm really upset that I missed that trade. But good. If anybody did catch that, good job. Then you have the single prints where they fill at 32. So single prints fill here, 32. Prints fill. Single prints start here at 35.25. So this will be a downside destination. Okay, so if tomorrow we open up in the upper distribution and cannot take out the day's high, then you'll look to trade down into the single prints. And they're very small, so it will not be very difficult to fill the set of single prints. But considering the location of it is where the gap started from, I would think, if we did get any type of pullback into this area, right? Any type of pullback in this area, I think would be worth a long. Okay, I think it would be worth it long, and then you have your stop. Let's just say below the afternoon pullback low, 25.50. 50, right? And then you look to rotate up to the high day, which is at 48.50. And then you target 66.50, the all-time high and our daily balance high. So kind of a idea for tomorrow, to say the least. This is where the high day is. Alrighty. So there you have it. There's our destinations on the upside and the downside. We have a double distribution day. I'm going to highlight both distributions so you guys have an understanding. This is the lower distribution, okay? This is the upper distribution. Buyers want to open up in the upper distribution tomorrow, okay? Buyers want to open up above 35.25 and push above 48.50. They get above 48.50. You have literally nothing stopping you really until 66.50. Now, I would not be surprised to initially see a little bit of an issue in this area here, right? Would not be surprised to see a little bit of issue around that 58.60 area. Would not be surprised at all to see some type of issue, because that is where a lot of these buyers up here, right? The laggard buyers, that's where they got trapped and then they got pushed out. So that area is going to be and not only is it an area where buyers got trapped and will have some sellers up there potentially, it is also a target, B, getting near a balance high. Okay, so balance rules start to come into effect up here. So I would be very, very cautious getting long unless there is some type of confirmation of buyers, like having another trend day like this, single prints, and then we clear above that 66 with no hesitation. So you want to see tempo and volume to push through this area and hold above it. If not, then I think we could have a very hard time grinding up here. And then obviously if we do not open up in the upper distribution tomorrow, get below 35.25, get below 32, cannot hold above 32, let's just say 30, right? If you cannot hold above 30, this market will rotate back down lower and play in the lower distribution, which is between 32 and 13. So we could chop around in this area, which is also, right? It's also where the gap was located from the gap down. So we could spend some volume and some time in that area. So that is basically today in a nutshell, or the plan in a nutshell, to say the least. So on the upside, you look to get up here and test balance high, push through it with some tempo and volume. If you do not, then things are going to get a little interesting. We could rotate back lower. If we open up in the lower distribution, you have nothing holding this market up. There's a vacuum, and I mean an absolute vacuum, down to 49.89. Okay, that is a magnet. It is a naked 9-wide point of control. Okay, naked 9-wide point of control at 49.89, and we can, in a heartbeat, actually I think it might be higher than that. 89.50 actually is technically the point of control there. I don't know why I did not label that properly. So 89.50 to be exact is the 9-wide point of control. So if we open up in the lower distribution below 25.50, get the day's low, there's nothing stopping this market from trading lower and then coming back and testing the balance low. So keep in mind, we are still in a balance between 49.29 and 50.66.50. So one way or another, we're going to find out if we're going to remain in balance tomorrow or break out of balance back to the upside. There is a possibility for an outside week up and a possibility for the daily to go back up as well. Let me go ahead and clear that up. Let's look at the larger time frame. Larger time frames. And we can go ahead and clear this gap up right there. We'll look at the weekly. Monthly still healthy. Monthly is, can I click the right thing, please? Monthly still healthy, and it is still up. Weekly, potentially an outside week up. scenario. As we are closing, you definitely want to close above 48.50. So we get back above last week's high 48.50, which I think also correlates. We'll have to look here in a minute where that area of interest was today. So looking to push back above 48.50. If we can set and close near the all-time highs tomorrow, outside week scenario is good potential, just like it was back 2 weeks ago, which resulted in us continuing to push higher. However, just because we took out last week's low by only about a point, I'm not going to say that the weekly is down. Matter of fact, in SPY, they didn't even take out last week's low, so they're still one time framing up for 6 weeks in a row. So I'm going to say that the weekly still one time framing up until we firmly take out a previous week's low. So, but we nonetheless still have an outside week up scenario at play. Let's look at our daily. Excellent hold of the 20-day moving average. Excellent hold of the 20-day moving average. Great hold. In the video I left you guys off on Tuesday, I believe, I was describing about areas where you'd look to get long if you were a swing trader. This was one of those areas, right? You look to get long around the 20-day moving average. What are your targets on the upside? Well, you unload some near the gap fill. Well, we filled the gap today. So guess what? We start to unload some there. What's our next target on the upside if we are a swing trader? Well, we're going to look to take off some near the all-time high and our daily balance high. So that's why I'm expecting a little bit of resistance up here. Finding some sellers above 50, I think, is definitely going to be possible tomorrow. So if we don't have as many sellers, this market could easily continue to push up higher. And if they like the number, they will push up higher and take out the balance high of 50, 66, 50. Okay, so remember the 3 rolls going in tomorrow. Get near balance high, roll over, get near balance high, stretch it. So that means getting above 66.50 to like 67 and then coming back in, or pushing 2 through and away from the balance high. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. I hope you all enjoyed the video. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.